Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, now this is my opinion, but I stand by it. The government is not coming after your food. And I don't believe that they're coming after your guns either. Let me explain to you why, and then I'm going to follow it up with what they are coming after. What is our biggest threat right now from government? They're not coming after your food. They're not coming after your guns. Number one, they're not coming after your food because it will be a logistical nightmare. A logistical nightmare for them to come and take, let's say, for example, I have a 2-year supply of food, right? For myself and my family of 4, really now a family of 6. So I have a little less than a 2-year supply of food. Let's say they come and take that. What good is that going to do them? It would be a logistical nightmare. If you take into account all of the governmental employees that are allowed to act as law enforcement, right? That are allowed to actually confiscate things from you, take things from you, either with or without due process, they cannot do it. Even if they only target preppers. In the United States of America, I remember reading an article a while back about, 2 years ago or so, or maybe right after this health crisis thing started. And it said that in the United States, about 5% of the people are preppers. And I was like, wow, that's actually a really big number, in my opinion. I mean, you take 5% times 300 million, that's 15 million people that are preppers. I was like, wow, that's really impressive. Now, just to take the food away from preppers, imagine of the logistical issues that they would have, right? And on top of that, usually people that have things that they don't want taken away from them, they usually do something in the order of being able to protect those things. So they're not going to take away your food. I mean, worst case scenario, right? Let's say it's a real SHTF. Have you all read that book, 1 Second After? It's a really good book. It's a page turner indeed. And I believe it's followed up by like 3 other books. The next one is 1 Year After, and I forget the name of the last 2. It's either 3 other or 2 other books, but they're all really good books. My favorite, the very first book, 1 Second After. I forget the name of the author. But in 1 Second After, everything was shut down because they had a major EMP across the entire United States. And it got down to the local level. And it was local governments that were making the decisions on whether they would induce martial law, right? On whether they would actually go house to house and confiscate people's goods. In the case of that book, it was confiscate their foods. And to their credit, or at least to the credit of the author who wrote the book, it turns out that they decided not to do that, to allow people that already had stocks of food to keep their food. However, they also implemented a program where they gave out ration cards to people that needed to eat. However, if you wanted to get a ration card so that you can get your daily meal, you had to be open to having your home search for food, right? So that's how it worked out on there on a local level. So at a local level, anything can happen, really. However, I go again to the fact that people that have things that they deem valuable usually have a way of protecting those things. So they're not going to come after your food. Don't be afraid of stocking up food. Do you want to keep everything that you have in the same exact place? Absolutely not. I may show my pantry now and then on videos that I put up, but that's not the only source of storable food that I have put away. Of course it's not. How could it? I put myself out here on YouTube and show you all what I do, usually on a daily basis. I have discussions with all of you. And I'm not going to show the world, that this is all I have. This is the only place that I have it. You have to diversify where you place your preps. Now, as far as, firearms, guns, ladies and gentlemen, in the United States, there are more than 400 million privately owned firearms. And the people that own those firearms, more than likely, got it for a reason. They got it for a reason, right? Now, what do you think would happen if government, federal government, and even local government started knocking down doors, trying to take your guns? They may get away with taking a few. And when I say a few, I mean thousands of families, thousands of people that they knock down their doors. However, the word will get around. and people will protect their Second Amendment right, especially those people here in the United States that consider ourselves patriots, freedom lovers, right? Lovers of the Constitution. And yes, I know I'm already on a list. Okay, I'm already on a list. It is what it is. So, don't worry about them taking away your guns. Now, are they fighting like the Second Amendment? Are they fighting by putting up more laws and trying to pass more restrictive things? I think that's a smokescreen, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you what it is that the government is coming after, and they're working on right now, and they've been working on for several years without so many people knowing about it. And I started harping about this, I don't know, about 2 years ago, but more so, I've been harping about it more and more and more. Why? Because they're getting closer and closer and closer to implementing this. And this is going to be the tool that they use to literally strip you of all of your freedoms. Literally, ladies and gentlemen. And that is, and if you don't know this word, you need to look it up. You need to look it up. You need to understand what it is. And you need to understand what the consequences of this being implemented upon the American people will be. And in my opinion, it will be implemented. In my opinion, it will happen. And we will suffer. However, I have a follow-up to that once I tell you what it is. That is a centrally banked digital currency. It is programmable money. The government is eventually going to get rid of cash, right? If this administration stays in place for the next 2, 3, 4 years, God forbid, there will be no more physical cash. It will be gone. The government will get rid of it. And you will have to exist with a centrally banked digital currency. It's going to be called some kind of a dollar, maybe a Fed dollar or a Fed coin or something like that. Right? They may give it a good name, maybe a rainbow coin digital currency. I don't know. But they're going to make it sound like it's going to be good. Like they're going to save you if you just accept this digital currency. Once they come out with that, that's it. It's over. For the first few months to maybe the first year or so, things are going to be great. But once cash is completely out of the picture and is completely out of circulation, and all businesses are only accepting CBDCs as a form of payment, why do you think they're getting rid of the mom and pop shops? Why do you think they're getting rid of the middle class? Because these are the people that mainly use cash. These are the people that have cash in their pockets. Do you think that billionaires walking around and multimillionaires walking around have cash in their pockets? I would say not very many of them. So they're getting rid of the middle class. And there's going to be some kind of a crisis that will occur that will dive everyone into poverty. Either a stock market crash or some kind of a war or something. I don't know. Fill in the blank. Use your imagination. But they'll come up with something that is terrible. And then the people themselves, they will ask for the CBDC. The government will come out and say, hey, we can ease the pain. We can stop the pain, but you just have to go onto this new money that we have. And it's because for your safety. It's because we don't want any money to be, that L word that they use for money all the time. It almost sounds like laundry. They don't want that type of stuff happening with money. So they're going to use that for your safety so that you don't get ripped off. They're going to make it sound really great. However, once everyone is on this system, think about this. Think about a form of exchange, something that you use to exchange value. Right now, most of us use the dollar, the U.S. Federal Reserve note. It's not a real dollar, but it's a Federal Reserve note, but most people know it as dollars. Most of us use the dollar to trade value for value, to trade that time that we used or that we traded for that dollar to trade it for something else that we can use. You see, a dollar is nothing but a promissory note that you'll be able to trade it for something that's real. That's all it is. It is a debt instrument, right? So imagine if there were no physical dollars. Imagine if the dollars that you had were all digital and the government could control the programming of that dollar. What do I mean by programming? Okay, well, have you eaten too much meat this month? Well, guess what? Somebody's going to be pushing a little button, or an algorithm or AI or something will be watching what you're consuming every time that you buy something. And they will say, wait a minute, this person's gone over their carbon credits for the month. He can't buy any more meat. He can't get any more gasoline. They may shut your gasoline off altogether. Now how are you going to drive your car? Well, now maybe you're going to have to, go get an electric car because you can't get gasoline anymore. They can put you on a naughty list where you are restricted to doing only those things that they want you to do. Why? Because you jaywalked. You're not supposed to jaywalk. They can put a negative interest rates on your credits, which means that if they put $100 in your digital wallet, for example, and you don't use that $100 within a month, it can have a negative interest rate of 10%, meaning that at the end of that month, since you didn't use that $100, it's not worth $90. $10 is deducted from it. They can decide how far away from your home you can use those digital currencies. So if you travel more than 5 miles from your home and you need to go get gasoline, guess what? If you can get gasoline because you have enough carbon credits left, guess what? It's not going to work because you're too far away from your home. You will be 100% imprisoned. It's going to be an open prison. You're only going to be able to stay within the boundaries that they allow you to stay in. Now, like I said, at first, it's going to be great. At first, it's going to take away whatever pain it is that they come up with next. Whatever crisis, whatever major crisis occurs next, is going to cause an awful lot of pain. An awful lot of pain. And then they're going to come in and say, hey, we are your saviors. We are here to save you. All you have to do is do this. And most people are going to say yes. Most people are going to say yes, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason for that is because they're going to be starving. They're going to be starving, and the government is going to be there with a loaf of bread, handing it to them. But they're going to have to give up all of their freedoms for it. You can fill in the blanks as far as how many possibilities there are of the things that they can restrict you from doing. For example, let's say that we don't want too many more people in this country. Well, how many kids do you have? Well, you have one child. That's it. We can only have one more child. Well, you have another child, and guess what? Your credits are cut off. Anything they want, they will be able to do. People don't understand that money is everything when it comes to you being free and being able to freely trade with others, because money represents your labor. So in all actuality, the government would own your labor. They would own your labor. That is why, in my opinion, that person from the Whiskey, Echo, Foxtrot, right? From the W followed by an E and then followed by an F. That's why that person put out that motto that said that by this year, you will own nothing. That's why they put out that motto. Because once they have a CBDC, you will own nothing, not even your labor. So let's go ahead and take it to another extreme. Let's say that you go to a garage sale and you are buying something from a garage sale. As soon as you pay that person, guess what happens? That person that just sold you something for $10 or $1 or whatever it may be at that time, they get taxed on that sale immediately. Immediately. If for some kind of a reason the government suspects that you're doing something wrong, they can completely demonetize your life. This, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm explaining to you is a lot worse than the government trying to take your food or trying to take your guns. That's why the government ain't going to do that. They're going to take your freedom. They're going to take it like a thief in the night as soon as we have another major crisis that they more than likely fabricate, and the people will ask for it. What's the good news, AP? What is the good news? There is good news. The good news is this, that through that suffering, most people will wake up. Because you have to understand, there are a lot of zombies that live amongst us. And some people will actually benefit from that system. Because as soon as we have a CBDC, they will soon after go ahead and start implementing a UBI, Universal Basic Income. Some people will actually benefit from that. People that are not in the labor force, people that are kind of like erased from society. However, most people are not like that. Most people are going to feel the pain and wonder what it is that they gave up. Why did they give up their freedoms for this magical coin that they call a CBDC, and then this UBI that they can tell you how you can and cannot spend it? And once a majority of the population wakes up, I would say at least 30% of the population wakes up, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight, and it's going to take a while for us to get back to where we are right now. Ladies and gentlemen, to where we are right now. That is why you must prepare. You must prepare That way, when that day comes, we patriots, we people that love this country, that love what this country stands for, and don't listen to the rhetoric of those crazy people who always bring up the same things, but they just scream the loudest that this country is a terrible country. You know, I was thinking about that. This country is such a terrible country. If this country is such a terrible country, and I brought this up before, but if this country is such a terrible country, if this country, I don't know if I can say this word on YouTube, but if this country, the United States of America, has such a big problem with people that are not of light skin, why is it that so many people from other countries where they are not of light skin want to come to the United States of America? If this country has such a big problem with people being discriminated because of the color of their skin, why is it that so many people from so many countries that are not light-skinned want to come to the United States of America? Would you? I just don't understand that. There must be something else, and I can tell you what it is right now. That is freedom. That is freedom. That's why people want to come here. It's freedom. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we have to watch out for. That is why we have to prepare, because we will go through a time of sorrow. We will go through hard times, and in my opinion, it's going to take several years before we are back again in a footing such as we are now, where we are free to go where we want to go, do what we want to do. I understand that we're not totally free now until the internal, service that has an R in the middle, until that institution is completely gotten rid of, and until the Federal Reserve is completely gotten rid of, and we go back to an honest and real sound money where it keeps our government in check, we will not be free. And as long as we allow corporations to buy our politicians, to bribe our politicians, we will not completely be free. But that day will come someday, and I believe it will be in my lifetime. So prepare, ladies and gentlemen. That's the only thing that you can do right now is prepare. I was thinking about calling my congressman and my senator and saying, hey, what are you doing about this bill or that bill? And I'm like, what difference is it going to make? What difference is it going to make? Look at where we're at. The reason that we are at where we're at is because what they've already done. What difference will it make if I call to them to bitch about this or that? They've already done it. They've already proven that they will do what it takes in order to destroy this country. So prepare, stay prepared, fill in the gaps, don't lose hope. There is hope, but without preparation, hope is just that, hope. Having said that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I am out.
Nutrient Survival isn't just survival food. It's special ops grade. Built to the nutritional standards of the U.S. Special Ops and packed with 40 essential nutrients. Formulated to sustain energy, sharpen focus, and keep you and your family thriving during any emergency. Real food, real ingredients. Oh, and a 25-year shelf life. Our meals will kick your taste buds in the mouth and have them coming back for dessert. Yeah, we've got that too. So whether you're digging in or bugging out, you don't just survive an emergency situation, you thrive in it. Nutrient Survival. Feed your freedom.